It was a hot commodity. It was a hot commodity.
Let me say before we call our meeting to order, it is being live streamed, but it's only on audio because we're having technical difficulty for those that are out there. So if you're saying you don't see us, you can hear us. And in that note, I would say to each council member, as Miss Annie did a while ago, reach into the mic and just talk real loud so we can all hear what you got to say. But that was good, Miss Annie. So at this time, we will call our tribal council meeting, business meeting to order. I would like to ask new council member, Mr. Jody Bullard, if he would lead us in invocation, if we'd all stand.
Yep. Brother Speaker, if we could, let's remember Brother Allen in this prayer. Allen Mercer.
Yes, sir.
Council member.
I'd like to also remember our Reverend Mike Cummins. He desperately needs our prayers tonight.
Yes, and the family of Seneca Locklear, 21-year-old, passed away last night. Just ask you to be much in prayer for that family and all of these. There are so many others we know that are standing in need of prayer right now. We may not be able to call their names out, but we know there's a God in heaven that knows who they are and what they need at a time such as this. Brother Jody.
Let's remember all the unsaved.
All right, bro.
That's why I mean, thank you, Heavenly Father, Lord, for giving us a place of opportunity. Ask you, Lord, to remember the prayer request. Seek, Lord, to show. Ask you, Lord, this time to clear our hearts and minds. Okay?
Yes,
Mr. Chairman, Lord, handle some business, Lord, seeing our tribal members in our community.
Yes,
Give us the
Lord.
opportunity, Lord, to make the best decisions possible. Name would you pray.
Amen. Thank you. As you remain standing, ask Council Member Carrington Locklear if he would lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And as you remain standing, I'd ask Councilwoman Giovanna Oxendine if she would do our preamble.
In accordance with
The inherent power of self-governance of the Lumbee Tribe of North Carolina, the tribe adopts this Constitution for the purposes of establishing a tribal government structure, promoting for all time the Lumbee way of life and community, promoting the educational, cultural, social, and economic well-being of the Lumbee people, and securing justice and freedom for the Lumbee people.
Thank you. You may be seated.
Amen.
Let me say, I would ask also, before we read the ethics statement, if you have a cell phone, if you would put it on mute or vibrate, that it will not interfere with our meeting tonight. At this time, I will read ask the secretary to do our roll call.
Mr. Speaker, can we excuse Mr. Alvin Mercer tonight, please?
Have a motion to excuse Mr. Alvin. Good, a second.
I second.
Been moved and second. Any opposition to that? Hearing none, seeing none. Motion carried. Thank you, Miss Annie. Miss Sheridan.
Billy Oxendine,
Present.
Sharon Hunt here, Joel Goolsby.
Here.
Harold Smith.
Here.
Pam Hunt.
Here.
Jody Bullard. Wendy Moore.
Here.
Carrington Locklear.
Here.
Larry Chavis.
Here.
Richard Jones.
Here.
Nancy Locklear. Yvonne Dow.
Here.
Alvin Mercer. Corbin Eddings.
Here.
Dewey McNeil.
Here.
Bobby Oxendine.
Emmanuel, here.
I'm sorry. I saw the mistake and I read it just like I saw it. But Bobby Emanuel.
Here.
Chakawana Oxendine.
Here.
Shelley Strickland. Annie Taylor,
Here.
Ricky Burnett,
Here.
Homer Fields.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. At this time, let me say we welcome you to our Tribal Council business meeting, January the 20th, 2022, the first one of the year. So we welcome you as being a part with us this evening. I would like to recognize we have Mr. Leon Jacobs, who was a previous tribal administrator, well known throughout the Indian community. So good to have him with us tonight, seeing him in our presence. Also, we have Miss Mabel Moses, former senior Miss Lumbee. Good to see her also and being in our presence. So at this time, I would ask for a motion to review and approve of our agenda for the evening.
So moved, Mr. Speaker.
Second.
Have a motion by Miss Wendy. Need a second?
I second it.
Been moved in second. Is there any objection to that motion? Hearing none, seeing none, motion carries. I would ask also for a motion to review and approval of the December Tribal Council minutes and
Mr.
action.
Speaker, point of order.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, brother. I thought I'd already read it. Thank you for keeping me in line. That rain got me. I threw it back in there. I got it. In accordance with the Ethics and Conflict of Interest Ordinance 2010-0312-01, it is the duty of every council member to avoid both conflicts of interest and the appearances of a conflict of interest with regards to any matters before the council today. Does any council member have a known conflict of interest or any perceived conflicts of interest with respect to any matters coming before the council today? If so, please refrain from participation in those particular deliberations during the meeting. Thank you. Thank you, Brother Gerald, for keeping me in check. So at this time, if we could get a motion to review and the approval of the December Tribal Council minutes and actions.
Mr.
Offer a
Speaker,
motion to approve.
and I second that motion, sir.
Miss Wendy made the motion. Miss Pam? Miss Pam did?
Didn't hear nobody talking, I'm sorry.
Okay. And Mr. Corbin second that. Is there any opposition to that motion? Hearing none, seeing none, motion carries. Thank you. At this time, we have our community comments. And I have one that I received the email on, and I see we have one more. Did you get any others, Miss? Okay, the one that I have, let me make sure I'm on track yet. Any comments? It says, "Good evening, council. Hope all is well. I know it's time to pick your committee chairs and officers, and that is what I want to bring to the council's attention. You have a council member that has admitted and found to have violated the ethics ordinance. This came out of the ethics committee and was supposed to go to full council for a full vote. But for some reason, some council members failed to show for the full council meeting in order not to have a quorum, so it could not be voted on. This violation should still be pending for the council. With all that being said, the council members should not be recommended or appointed to any chair, vice chair, or office of this council or committees. Thank you all for taking your time away from the family to serve your tribe." And this was Mr. Terry Hunt from District 14. At this time, the chair would recognize also in community comments, Mr. Leon Jacobs. Mr. Leon, I have the highest respect for you and all, and if you can remember back, we give you 3 minutes. The parliamentarian will start waving at you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, members of the Tribal Council, newly elected Chairman, Mr. Lowry. I stand to say congratulations to all of you and Happy New Year. And secondly, I stand tonight to thank all of you for your dedication and your personal commitment to honor and protect the tribe's constitution. This document, which is not temporary in any means, is what gives the tribe a limited sovereignty and it is going to last for many, many generations for the tribe and its membership. So I want to again thank you for your dedication and what you're doing to protect our Constitution. It's also important, I think, that you remember the history of what brought our Constitution forward. LRDA, as most of you know, I'm sure, was able to get a small grant from the church in 1992, I think it was. And Arlinda Locklear and I came and met with the tribal LRD board, and they said we got a grant to do the Constitution. And as a result of that, here we are 25 years later, and the Constitution is moving forward, and I wish you well. I would also like to say, Mr. Speaker, as I start my journey into the sunset of my life here, I have to think about several things as I move forward. One is my family. Secondly is my Lord and Savior. And third is my tribe. I can't ever think about not spending time with the tribe, whether I'm in Connecticut or whether I'm in Robeson County. And I appreciate the fact that I have this opportunity.
Mr. Leon, if you would, for just 1 second. Mr. Speaker, if we could, I'd like to consider those first remarks, introductory remarks, and give Mr. Jacobs an additional 3 minutes, if you don't mind, sir.
I have no opposition to that.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll move forward quickly. There are 3 priorities that I would like to recommend to you to consider in this first month of this new fiscal year. Number 1 is homecoming. As you know, LRDA started this homecoming event that brings 30 to 40,000 tribal members together every year. The tribe has never been a partner in this operations, yet it is our homecoming. My recommendation to you to consider a special committee from the tribe to work with the board of LRDA to make sure that this is a unified operation to bring our tribal members forward. I've spoken with James Harden, and I know some of you have talked with some of the board members of LRDA. They really want a partnership in moving this thing forward. Number 2 is standing committees. I've had the pleasure of working in an Indian country from California to Maine, and every tribe that I've worked with directly and indirectly, they have standing committees for housing, education, health, elders, youth services, cultural services. And I know that you have committees in the legislative branch, but that is not the executive branch. And so having a representative from all of the different districts to help you identify needs. And one of the other reasons, very quickly, is that I understand that most of you are working full-time jobs and so forth. This would give you more eyes and ears in your districts so that you know what the needs are and so forth. So I hope that this is something that you will consider. The last thing that I would like to mention is the Hayes Lumbee Pond. That is, I think, should be a priority. I know that Councilwoman Wendy Moore has been working, and some of you, to turn this into a nature center. I talked with your representative, Mr. Graham, who stated that he was going to put money in the budget by the state level to help you with achievement of whatever your goals are and so forth. So I hope that that is a priority that you will consider. Thank you for this. I'm happy to be here with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Leon. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Is it District 4?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you. Let me go back also, and I had it on, you got so much on your mind, but you forget when when you start getting old. But I want to recognize all our new council members that have just come on board. We welcome you. We look forward to working with you throughout this year. And just thank you for being willing to be dedicated to assist and help your Lumbee people. So we thank you for that. Also, I'd like to go back because he just came in. I'd like to recognize our new chairman, Chairman John Lowry. Mr. Chairman, do you have anything you want to say to us right quick?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Tribal Council members. I look forward to working with each and every one of you all. I appreciate everything that you do. I appreciate the time that you take away from your families and your friends to be here. We do have a lot to do. I want to tell you something. I've been on the job now for 2 weeks. We have an excellent staff here. They work hard. They put in a lot of time. And so whenever you get a chance, definitely give them a shout out. So because we got some brains here too in this building. So, but I definitely look forward to working with you guys. Appreciate all you do, and we'll be talking soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Speaker,
All right. At this time, our
Mr.
next...
Speaker, man, this is a good time to bring up what I got to bring up in the community comments. On your desk, you have this Native American Agriculture Scholarship. I sent a text out today about it. It's come from the commission today in an email, so I sent it to everyone. I try to send stuff as I get them from the Commission of Indian Affairs. If you have anybody interested, the applications should be there and the brochure. If you can run copies of it, if you would. Also, some had asked about the Native Month. I got these posters from the commission. They're welcome for souvenirs or whatever you want to do with them. One of our very own Lumbees and one of our fellow council members' brother actually painted this painting that was represented in this poster, and Sharon's brother. So if y'all want one of these, you can have them. Just come and get them. I've been riding them around for a couple of weeks, so anybody that wants to. Also, just as a backup, talk to Brother Leon as he talked about the homecoming. I have started trying to set some groundwork on having a meeting after this meeting because we didn't have anybody in offices or anything like that to maybe sit down with LRDA board. I've talked to board members and a couple others, so hopefully soon we'll be able to get together and get a round table as it relates to homecoming and other things as it relates with LRDA. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I will draw our attention to our next item, and it's the election of officers and committee chairs. Only got this one. Oh, I'm sorry. Help me. At this time, we entertain a motion for speaker or nomination. I'm sorry, nomination for speaker.
Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Corbin.
Yes, sir. At this time, I'd like to nominate yourself, Pastor Ricky Burnett.
Have a nomination of Ricky Burnett. Any other nominations?
Mr. Speaker,
Mr. Richard?
yeah, I'd like to make a nomination. Miss Wendy Moore.
Have a nomination for Miss Wendy Moore. Any other nominations?
Mr. Speaker, I make a motion nominee to come to a close.
All right. Thank you. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, what you have myself and you have Miss Wendy. The secretary will take and call your name. At that moment, you will state either Miss Wendy or you'll state my name for the record of who you'd like to be the speaker.
Mr. Speaker, before we vote, could I give Miss Wendy's response on the community comment and how she feels about it, whether she wants to proceed?
I would.
Are you good with proceeding forward? Okay.
Wrong mic. Yes, I am.
Ms. Sharon.
So we're going to call each person's name and they state which nomination?
Yeah.
That's what we're going to.
Yeah.
Billy Oxendine,
Wendy Moore,
Sharon Hunt, Ricky Burnett. I'm having to write down. Gerald Goolsby,
Ricky Burnett.
Harold Smith,
Preacher Ricky.
Pam Hunt,
Ricky Burnett.
Jody Bullard,
Miss Wendy Moore.
Wendy Moore,
Wendy Moore.
Carrington Locklear,
Wendy Moore.
Larry Chavis,
Preacher Ricky.
Richard Jones,
Wendy Moore.
Nancy Locklear. Yvonne Dow,
Miss Wendy Moore.
Corbin Eddings,
Ricky Burnett.
Dewey McNeil,
Preacher Ricky.
Bobby Emanuel,
Preacher Ricky.
Chakawana Oxendine,
Wendy Moore.
Annie Taylor,
Wendy Moore.
Ricky Burnett,
Ricky Burnett.
Homer Fields.
Ricky Burnett.
Ricky Burnett 11, Wendy Moore 8.
All right. Thank you, Miss Wendy. Speaker is Ricky Burnett. Thank you for your vote. And again, I look forward to voting with everyone. And I want to say this. You felt that, Miss Wendy, your vote, I don't look down on you. I respect you for who you voted for because you've got a right just like anybody else. So I just want us to work closely together and go forward to help our people out. Good. At this time, we will entertain a nomination for our vice chair.
Mr. Speaker,
Mr. Larry,
I'd like to nominate Corbin Eddings.
have a nomination for Mr. Corbin Eddings.
Mr. Speaker, I nominate Miss Wendy Moore.
We have a nomination for Miss Wendy Moore.
Mr. Speaker, I
Okay.
accept that nomination.
No.
Miss Wendy declines. Any others?
I move nomination be closed.
We have a nomination to come to a close. Need a second? Been seconded. If there any opposition, hearing none, seeing none, but by acclamation, Mr. Corbin, congratulations on being vice chair.
Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it.
At this time, we will entertain a nomination for our secretary.
Mr. Speaker,
Mr. Dewey,
I'd like to nominate Ms. Sharon Hunt.
have a nomination for Miss Sharon Hunt.
Second.
Any others? Hearing none, entertain a motion come to a close.
I'd make a motion that all nominations come to a close, sir.
Been moved in second. Any opposition to that? Hearing none, seeing none. Ms. Sharon, congratulations and affirmation as our secretary. At this time, nomination for our treasurer.
Mr. Speaker,
Mr. Larry,
I'd like to make a nomination, Miss Pam.
have a nomination of Miss Pam Hunt. Any others?
Mr. Speaker, I make a motion that all nominations come to a close.
Been moved in second. The nominations come to a close. Any objection to that? Hearing none, seeing none. Ms. Pam, by affirmation, congratulations on being the treasurer. At this time, we would entertain a nomination for our parliamentarian.
Mr. Speaker, I nominate Mr. Larry Chavis.
Have a nomination for Mr. Larry Chavis.
Mr. Speaker, I nominate Mr. Gerald Gooseby.
I don't want to serve as that. I'm sorry.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, David. I don't want to serve.
Mr. Speaker, I make a motion that all nominations come to a close.
Have a motion. Need a second? Been moved in second. Any opposition? Hearing none, seeing none. Mr. Larry, again, by affirmation, congratulations on being parliamentarian. At this time, we will entertain a nomination for our finance officer.
Mr. Speaker, I nominate Ms. Pam.
That's right. I'm sorry.
I nominate
right.
Ms. Pam Hunt.
It is. Yeah, it's automatic, the secretary and the finance, so it's automatic. Ms. Pam is. Thank you, Ms. Annie. At this time, we will look to the Constitution and Ordinance.
Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker. Yeah.
Mr. Gerald?
I'd like to nominate Corbin Edens for.
I second.
You have a nomination for Mr. Corbin, Constitution and Ordinance. Carrington? Mr. Richard, you did, did you have a, no, I know you didn't second it. Were you asking, did you have a nomination for this?
No.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Any other nominations?
Mr. Speaker, I make a motion that all nominations come to a close on that.
All right, have a motion to come to a close. Need a second. Been moved in second. Any opposition to that? Hearing none, seeing none. Mr. Corbin?
Very, very quickly, sir, I'll make this extremely brief. At this time, I'll say thank you, folks, for this nomination. My thoughts on it may change as the year goes on, but I did want to mention for those who are considering being a part of this committee, there's going to be a lot of work this year. Great groundwork was laid trying to start our constitutional reform. We do have redistricting that we've got to start taking a look at. Election ordinance, a number of different issues. If you are interested in doing some really great work, but time-consuming work, please join us. Thank you.
At this time, entertain a nomination for economic development.
Mr. Speaker, I make a motion.
Housing.
Housing.
Everybody's paper right here, brother.
The housing.
Housing. Mr. Speaker,
Mr. Speaker.
for
Ms.
housing.
Pam?
For housing,
Yeah, housing.
I'd like to nominate Mr. Richard Jones.
I second.
I second that.
Question, Preacher Rick.
Yes, sir.
I don't have a problem, but now, I don't know if his father still does work for the tribe or not. There might be a conflict in interest, you ask me now, if his father still does the work for the tribe.
My father doesn't do any work for the tribe.
He doesn't.
And even if he did, I think we got an ordinance that says we had a council member that was a contractor, so I don't think that would be a problem. But he does not do any work for the tribe.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Richard. Is there any other nomination?
Mr. Speaker, I make a motion. I move that the nomination be closed.
Been moved and seconded. Any opposition to that? Hearing none. Congratulations, Mr. Richard, Housing Director. Please make sure you come to Cumberland County. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
I got a house I need to talk to you about.
Need a nomination for agricultural natural resources.
Mr. Speaker, I nominate Mr. Wendy Moore.
Have a nomination for Miss Wendy Moore.
I move nomination be closed.
Any opposition? Congratulations, Miss Wendy. A&R. Education. Need a nomination.
Mr. Speaker,
Mr. Larry.
I nominate Ms. Dial.
I second that.
Have a nomination by Mr. Larry, second by Mr. Beal, for Miss Yvonne, to be our education. Is there any other nominations?
I move nomination be closed.
Have a motion to, need a second?
Second.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Congratulations, Miss Yvonne, being our education.
I just need everybody's support, and I appreciate everybody's support with this.
All right.
Mr. Speaker, could I make a statement, please?
Yes, sir.
I know this seems like we're going fast to the new council people, and no one ever stopped and said this to me last year. I know this seems like a lot, so if you have something that you would like to put in, feel free, because there were some things I wanted to say last year, and then it was over with and done. But please feel free to stop us.
All right. Next, we need a nomination for Health and Human Services.
Mr. Speaker,
Mr. Larry.
I'd like to nominate Jody Buller.
I second that motion.
I have a nomination for Mr. Jody Bullard and a second. Any others? Any others?
Move nomination be closed.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. The nominations come to a close. Any objection? Any? Larry made that motion, and yeah. Any questions? Motion carries. Congratulations, Mr. Jody. At this time, we'll entertain the nominations for federal recognition.
Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Richard.
Sorry. I'd like to nominate Harold Smith.
I second.
You have Mr. Harrell and seconded. Any others?
Make a motion nominee come to a close.
Thanks.
Wendy. Yep. Motion nomination come to a close. Is there a second?
Second.
Any objection? Congratulations, Mr. Harrell. We now come to economic development.
Mr. Speaker, I nominate Mr. Gerald Gooseby.
Second.
Mr. Gerald, motion made by Ms. Annie, second by Mr. Larry. Is there any others? Entertain a motion that nominations come to a close.
Make a motion, sir.
So move.
Moved and, you second that, Mr. Bill?
Yes.
Okay, moved second. Again, is there any opposition to this motion? Hearing none, seeing none, motion carried. Congratulations, Mr. Gerald. All right, this time, nominations for ethics.
Mr. Speaker,
Oh, Ms. Pam.
I'd like to nominate Dewey McNeil.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to nominate Corbett Edens.
I second Dewey McNeil.
And second for Mr. Dewey.
Excuse me, sir. Thank you so much, but I decline that, Miss Annie. Thank you.
Any others? Entertain a motion that the nominations come to a close.
Offer motion nomination to be closed.
Need a second?
I second.
Motion made by Mr. Gerald, second by Miss Wendy. Any objection to that? Congratulations, Mr. Dory, Ethics Chair. And I would say, and I don't want to step out of bounds, but I believe each committee chair, as Mr. Corbin said, if you want to be a part of that committee, we need to get with them and let them know that you want to be on that committee.
We always do it.
Do you?
This
Okay.
night. And if everybody signs up, that's why we got this sheet.
All right.
Yeah, because we need to
Okay.
pick our vice chairs and our secretaries and stuff.
All right. So if you would pull this sheet, that way I'm in line with it. Miss Belinda's trying to keep me straight. Okay, start with Constitution and Ordinance. Eddie.
Yes, sir. I don't. I may be speaking out of turn here, but I believe we take volunteers for those committees over the next week or so, and then at the first meeting we pick officers, because I don't even know who's going to be on my committee at this point. There's no way I could pick a vice chair.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, last year people text me that they wanted to be on that.
And then at the first meeting, we named officers of the
Or
committee.
or at the end of the meeting,
Yeah.
you can just take this master sheet and sign up.
Yeah, we'll do it like that.
Will that work?
Yeah, that's good.
Just at the end of the meeting, if you want to sign up for a committee, just use this master sheet.
This week, text.
And then you can choose your officers at your first meeting.
Miss Belinda. Yeah, at least one for the new. Yeah, thank you, Miss Belinda. New commit, you got to be on at least one. At least one.
But you can serve on as many.
And there is no.
Yeah, as many as you want. You can be on every one of them if you want to. Okay.
Everybody's turning in this list.
All right.
Master list from.
Thank you.
Yes. They can just come here.
Sign up.
Or I can pass it around.
I'll send it.
Pass that around. I'm just gonna pass it around and you can sign up. Send yours on that side. You start there and I'll start this. I'll get this side, Belinda.
We got it. Okay. That good?
Just sign up for the committees that you wanna be on. Got one, cheap one, that one. Got one.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is CLLR 2022-0120-01, the 2022 Tribal Council regular business meeting schedule. Somebody call me?
I did.
Yes, Mr. Judge.
No apologies. Before we proceed, can I just make a comment about the committees?
Yes.
I just want to make a comment. As everybody become chair, you choose your vice chair, your committees. Just understand this is the time to move our tribe forward. I'd love to see, well, especially for my committee, we're going to say goals, short-term and long-term goals. We're not going to take a year. We're not going to take a year, but 5 years to complete this process. I think there's things that need to be done now.
Good. Thank you,
Chair.
Mr. Jody.
Mr. Chair. Yvonne.
Oh, Ms. Yvonne.
And I was going to wait to the end of the meeting, but since Mr. Wood made the statement, I've talked to several council members, and I can remember the first time I was on the council, those of you who are new. I really feel, and I definitely want our chairperson, Mr. John Lowry, to please listen to this too, and anybody who's with administration. I really feel, we have orientation at the beginning of the year, and a lot is really thrown at us, and we still may not understand unless we get it down and read the material very carefully, and still sometimes it's a little confusing. But I would suggest and highly recommend that we would have workshops or retreats for everyone involved in these committees, and I really feel every council member should be attending these workshops with every committee, because there's still, this is my 3rd year, but I still would like to know more about housing and the budget, and I definitely would love to understand in more detail about the budget and finances with LTH. It's really a little confusing for those of us that are really not, experts with this finance. But I definitely feel that we do need some training and workshops with better understanding and clearer understanding about what's going on in each of these committees in order to be effective to serve our people.
Thank you, Ms. Yvonne. Madam Secretary, could you read the CLR 2022?
CLR 2022-0120-01. It's the 2022 Tribal Council regular business meeting schedule. I will go down to the last whereas TCRR-2011-1215-01, standing rules of order and regulation governing the duties of the Tribal Council officers and decorum of council meetings was enacted to govern Tribal Council proceedings. And whereas Section 2.1 of TCRR-2011-1215-01 states, there shall be regular meetings of the Tribal Council as defined in a resolution by the Tribal Council at the first annual meeting of each calendar year. The meetings for each calendar year shall be published and made available to the membership. January 20th, 2022, February 17th, 2022, March 17th, 2022, April 21, 2022, May 19th, 2022, June 16th, 2022, July 21st, 2022, August the 18th, 2022, September 15, 2022, October the 20th, 2022, November the 17th, 2022, and December the 15th, 2022. Therefore, be it resolved that the Tribal Council of the Lumbee Tribe of North Carolina does agree to hold the Tribal Council regular monthly business meetings on the 3rd Thursday of each month at 6:30 at the Lumbee Tribal Housing Complex, with the exception of an emergency or natural disaster as described and defined in Section 211 of TCRR-2011-1215-01.
Thank you, Ms. Sharon. Entertain a motion to pass this and go forward.
I'd like to comment just a little bit on our meeting decorum. Last year, during the committee meetings, I'm sure that this is covering the committee meetings as well, correct? I don't want to speak out of turn.
No, this is just for the Tribal Council regular business meetings.
Okay, all
Just
right.
the
When we
business
get to
meeting.
committee, I've got some comments I want to make on that.
Okay. We'll entertain a motion that we accept this resolution.
Offer motion we accept.
Second.
Been moved. Motion by Mr. Gerald, second by Mr. Dewey. Is there any question? Any opposition to this?
Mr. Rickett, there is a correction that we need to make in this. Therefore, the 3rd line where described, that should be described, ED. Make sure it's correct.
I'm in my motion with the corrections you was talking.
Okay, thank you. And second. All in favor, let it know by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Page back. At this time, I will draw our attention to our calendar review.
Mr. Speaker.
Wait,
I wanted to comment, talk about our committee meetings. Last year, there was quite a few meetings that we attended, and we didn't have a quorum. Okay, and our quorum rules is 3/4, am I correct?
2/3.
Two-thirds.
Excuse me, 3/4, good gracious. 2/3. I would like to maybe amend that to simple majority for committee meetings only. Is there a way that we can do that?
You have to
I
do-
mean, I come out here for 5 or 6 meetings in 1 week, and we didn't have a quorum in either one of them.
You can't
And
do it
it's
like
just
that.
it just doesn't make sense to not do that.
Yeah.
Mr. Speaker? Mr. Gerald, I think there should be a limit of the, people on the committees, but that way you wouldn't have to come to a meeting and not have a quorum, because you got too many members on the list, and then they don't show up.
Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Corbin?
Yes, sir. In our duties and decorum, folks, is where we actually will be addressing all of that. As a reminder, each year during our retreat or training or what have you, we'll go through our duties and decorum and any changes that we needed to make at that time, whether it's on minimums or maximum for committee members or number of committees or whatever that is, we'd address that then and be able to vote on that as a council. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Pam?
I was ready for the calendar. I wanted to make a statement with,
My 3rd year.
Okay.
so,
So
first of all,
let me make sure we're all clear, and that's the way it goes with the
Yeah, I
quorum.
just want to say this will be my 3rd year. I don't remember being on a
Okay.
retreat
Yeah.
to
Ms.
discuss
Pam?
this yet.
okay, so, first of all, to just take care of, business, I'd like to have a, finance meeting on February the 3rd. Now,
Okay, let me take you to January 1st.
wait a minute, but let me tell you why I'm saying this, okay? So let me finish because they did. So, Miss Yvonne was speaking about a retreat. Now, we talked about that in my committee back in November. So we do plan to hit the floor running with this. And it's not going to be just a retreat per se. We're going to have training. We're going to have training on all aspects. We're going to have all kinds of different people there. The reason I said we're trying to go ahead and get the February meeting scheduled is because at that meeting, then we can start planning to see what dates. Everybody, we have to make it convenient for the most people. And my other comment, and I will back off. This tribe lost a tremendous, to me, opportunity last year when we failed to move forward in purchasing the drug rehabilitation property in Parkton. Now, if you deal with many other tribes, then you would know. Other tribes don't depend, and they don't sit back and wait on federal recognition, folks. So until we decide to step out of the box and to come together and find ways to create monies and economic development for our folks, we're going to stay. We're going to stay just where we're at. Our children are going to be here running this tribe, and they're going to be where we're at. So I want us to think proactive. Let's think like other tribes, and it's not, I know what you're thinking. Other tribes have built banks. They have built grocery stores. They have built healthcare centers. And I don't mean federally recognized tribes. I mean tribes who have nothing. And if they can do it, then by all means, the Lumbee tribe of North Carolina can do it as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Let me go back from and I guess we've been doing this, just yes or whatever. We must do a voice vote on that resolution. So at this time, I'm going to ask Ms. Sharon if she'd go back and call and vote on that.
Billy Oxendine,
Pass.
Billy, this is for the
This-
resolution that we just voted on for
Oh,
the meeting
Yeah.
date.
yes.
Sharon Hunt, yes. Gerald Goolsby,
Yes.
Harold Smith,
Yes.
Pam Hunt,
Yes.
Jody Bullard,
Yes.
Wendy Moore,
Yes.
Harrington Locklear,
Yes.
Larry Chavis,
Yes.
Richard Jones,
Yes.
Nancy Locklear, Yvonne Dow,
Yes.
Alvin Mercer, Corbin Eddings,
Yes.
Joey McNeil,
Yes.
Bobby Emanuel,
Yes.
Chakawana Oxendine,
Yes.
Shelley Strickland, Annie Taylor,
Yes.
Ricky Burnett,
Yes,
Homer Fields.
Yes.
Motion carried.
thank you. Motion carries. Now I will draw, is this on the calendar, Mr. Gerald?
No, I was just gonna comment with Ms. Pam, since she had the floor, from an economic development standpoint. I brought this facility up to the council and only a couple council members went to look at it. And the biggest thing is because it wasn't in Pembroke, it didn't get any activity on it. So this people got $10 million grant to do a drug rehab and purchased a building and stuff. So anyway, we need to change that view. Everything don't need to be in one central location. It took us a year to get a shirt store started. We can't have that kind of view to proceed further with economic developments. We got some good opportunities in the next year or so to move the tribe forward in some areas. So I would like to just let us just think and have an open mind as a tribe. Don't let the price tag scare us from trying to invest in something that can move our tribe forward, whether it be health, education, or whatever it may be. So I just asked you just have an open mind this year as it relates to the economic development opportunities.
Thank you, sir. Is there anything additional for January?
Yeah, the 31st.
31st, economic, 6,
That'll be, every time is fine because somebody else is out at 6:30.
isn't it 6:30? Normally, Ms. Plant, 6:30. Economic development, 6:30 on the 31st. Anyone else on the 31st?
I can do ethics at 7:30.
7:30. Ethics at 7:30.
So will we need a full hour, or will we just need 30 minutes since we're just picking the chairperson? I mean the secretary.
30
and vice
minutes.
chair.
About 30 minutes,
Yeah, so
brother.
you just do 7 for ethics.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Constitution and Ordinance 7:30.
On the 31st?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
If we're going into February, I'll keep talking.
Okay. Miss Annie, do you have your hand up? I'm sorry. Anyone else? No, it's trying to finish out January right now. Anything else for January? Nothing? Okay. So let me repeat again. We have economic development at 6:30 on the 31st, ethics at 7 o'clock, and Constitution and Ordinance at 7:30 on the 31st of January.
Mm-hmm.
Should do all
Yeah.
of that now.
Yeah.
Yeah, 15 minutes.
Yeah. Can we go back to January, Mr. Speaker? Can we know what, the special call meetings for on the
That's on
27th?
that broadband internet that we didn't vote on. Yeah, we didn't have a quorum at that time. Okay, so Ms. Belinda's correct on that. It won't take, some of them might take 15 minutes, it might take 10 minutes, but if everybody, all the committees would go ahead and do it on the 31st so that you can get your bid.
Yeah.
I got a bidder on it.
Go ahead.
For that special call meeting on the, that'll keep us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. We'll do that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Even better.
So move everything
we
on the
already-
27th.
So we're gonna do all committee meetings that night and
Yeah, on
get
the
our
20, yeah,
officers? Okay.
27th. And again, that one, voting on the broadband, again, maybe 10 or 15 minutes just to vote on it and move on, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Belinda. Now I will bring you to February. Ms. Pam was first.
Okay, so I would like to do finance at 6:30 on February 3rd.
Mr. Speaker,
6:30, Finance. Trying to-
Mr. Speaker. Can I get housing? 7:30, same day.
7:30, Housing. Mr. Corbin.
Mr. Speaker.
Yes, sir. Constitution ordinance on the 8th at 6:30
Constitution.
and on the 22nd at 6:30.
And the 22nd,
Yes, sir.
6:30 on the 8th.
And right quick, I'm gonna throw this out. Folks started talking about new folks and things going too fast, so I feel kind of compelled to say this. What we were doing on 27th, the first meeting, the only thing that we're allowed to do that night are pick committee members. So there was not a real agenda. There's not business that'll actually be discussed. You can maybe discuss, as Mr. Bullard said, goal setting, but it's primarily just to name individuals to each committee.
Mr.
We got to have something to vote on.
They can't hear you.
I didn't hear you. Jody didn't hear you.
The gray area, we black out for committee meetings, because we can't do any business the week before that, monthly meeting.
Okay, Brother Jody, I'm coming. On the 7th,
6:30, February 7th.
on the 7th. Mr. Gerald, and then I'm
No,
coming.
ladies first, Ms. Yvonne.
Ms. Yvonne?
Education,
Okay. Education, 7:30.
Economic Development, 3rd, at, I guess, 8:30.
Economic,
And
Okay.
also, the 22nd.
okay, and economic on the 22nd. Mr. Dewey?
7:30 on the 7th for ethics. Is that available?
7:30, ethics on the 7th. Anybody? Miss Wendy?
February 8th at 8:30 A&R.
A&R, 8:30 on the 8th. Are there any others? Seeing none?
Just another comment, since everybody's informing new council members. These meetings that we've scheduled, the finance cuts out at 7, then the next meeting follows right behind. So
Yeah.
just be aware that it could actually start earlier, or it could start a little later if they both extend.
Okay,
Mr. Speaker, will you review the calendar again?
for February?
Yeah,
Yes,
February.
ma'am.
What?
Okay, go ahead.
For February.
Yeah, February, yeah.
What
You might
about-
wanna make
All the
the
meetings,
date- the dates.
February
All the
3rd.
dates.
yeah.
You want to give it, Ms. Sharon? Go ahead.
February the 3rd, Finance at 6:30, Housing 7:30, Economic Development 8:30. February 7th, Health at 6:30, Ethics at 7:30. February 8th, Constitution and Ordinance at 6:30, Education at 7:30, A&R at 8:30. February 22nd, Constitution and Ordinance at 6:30, Economic Development at 7:30.
All right. Did you get that, Miss Annie?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Any other questions or anything that needs to come before this body?
All of them are canceled on the 31st of January.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. Miss Yvonne, do you have your hand up? Yes, ma'am.
I just want to say thank you so much the depths of my heart for supporting Mr. Alvin Mercer. He definitely needs a lot of prayer.
Yes, Lord.
It's going to take a long, long time for him to improve, and he's going to have to receive a lot of rehabilitation. All of you do know that Alvin had a wonderful and a deep heart for everybody, so many people, and I just thank you so much for your support. And Miss Renee, his friend, is very supportive of him, and you know that. Kept his mother for 20-some years, and she really appreciates everything that everybody has done. And I just thank you. I just don't really know what's going to happen to Miss Renee, but my heart goes out for her. I continue to pray for her and her family because she has small grandchildren, and Johnny loved them very, very deeply. But thank you so very much.
Thank you, Miss Yvonne. Let me say also, I want to reiterate what Mr. Richard Jones had said to the new council. I'm a person, I watch people. It's not all about, I just look at and sometimes you see that, whoa. I want to say to each of you, don't be afraid to ask. Seriously, if you don't understand, you got a voice. That's why you're here. And I encourage you, hey man, I didn't really understand what's going on, because it's important that we all make the right decisions. And it's very important. And don't be afraid to lean on anybody. I mean, just ask anyone. And let us also embrace the new ones that come on. Because I'm like him. I think it took me 2 years, man, the first time I come on, before I could ever, I was lost. I was like a fish out of water. I'm saying, man, what's happening here? What's going on? Okay, yeah, right. And then after I'm going back down 95 or going up 95, I'm saying, what in God's name did I just do? It takes time. But I thank God for all of you that's willing to serve. We're looking forward to a good year. Let me say we want to thank Miss Belinda for how she supported us this past year. And I ask you to keep her in prayer also, because she's still under the weather also. But getting all this together for us, we just appreciate her, and we appreciate each and every one of you. And we just thank God for all of you. All right? Miss Ness. Yeah, that's all. That's all. Yeah, that's good. And you'll fill that sheet out, that disclosure. Okay? All hearts and mind content, I entertain a motion that we adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Have a motion to adjourn. All in favor of that would stand. And I'm going to ask Mr. Homer Fields, if he would, to dismiss us in a word of prayer.
Father, we thank you for fellowship and service. We ask you, help us serve, be to serve.